All right, Pro Football Today here on SportsGrid on a Saturday. It's Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi. We will be live, of course, with you for tomorrow's Sunday slate, where you do not have as many, hey, one and done, 1 + 1 = 2, but a lot of seeding implications. And in the AFC, Joe, the biggest question is, will Denver hold on and win the number 1 seed? They are monstrous favorites up against the Los Angeles Chargers. It's interesting. The Chargers could have played this game out in an attempt to get up to maybe the 5 or the 6 seed, right? But I think for the Chargers, they made the right decision because this game would have been for the division if they handled business and beat the Houston Texans. With that, the Chargers would be going to Denver, who are off of a mini-bye, by the way, having played on Thursday, needing to pull off an upset to, again, maybe not even move seed lines, all things depending. I think the Chargers have made the right decision, but it has put the Patriots most specifically, maybe you could argue somewhat Jacksonville, but again, I don't think as much, in a situation where they got to try for the 1 seed. It might be up for grabs, but Denver's a 13.5-point favorite. It'll either be Denver or New England or Jacksonville, though, grabbing that coveted spot.
Yeah, I mean, Denver, again, you would expect to take care of business against the Chargers. And, again, I believe more in Denver to take care of business and get it done than maybe some of the other teams. They're really coming into form. They're starting to have an offensive identity now. Bo Nix, to me, looks confident. And when you talk about that defense overall, very difficult to move the football on and very difficult to score multiple points per game. And again, Drake May and this team, they bashed the Jets. They look great. You can't take anything away from Mike Vrabel. But I think when we're looking at both of these teams, I do believe in Bo Nix now, even though he hasn't won a playoff game, because of that performance last year. He has that under his belt. I still have concerns, obviously, with the situation now with New England and Diggs and obviously off the field issues. How does this team attack the playoffs? I think they would need, in my opinion, the right opponent to potentially move on and even get to an AFC championship game. But Denver, to me, is built where they can go the full gamut and win a Super Bowl or at least get there. I believe in this team. I've been completely wrong, and I'll admit it, on Sean Payton. I thought when Russell Wilson left and this team took Bo Nix, I didn't think he would get the most out of him in a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. And this wide receiver core has emerged. They're not elite, but they get the job done. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not household names, but Troy Franklin, has been a great addition to this offense. The quarterback to wide receiver relationship is there. Harvey's a legitimate go-to home run threat every time he touches the football. They do have now Sutton hitting stride where earlier in the year they didn't. The addition of Evan Ingram, I know we joke, but he's been an added dimension and piece to that offense. And when you have Surtain in that secondary, hey, as long as you have home field advantage, you're good to go.
Yeah,
Do you buy in?
I've struggled with the Denver stuff. What's so appealing about the Broncos, more than anything else, is just the path. I've said it a few times. I project it to hold true. Sean Payton, since returning to the NFL back in Denver, is perfect off of a bye week or a mini-bye. So if they, off a mini-bye, handle business here against the Chargers, they'll need to then win at home off a bye week to be in the conference championship game. And they're not projected to play an easy opponent, right? Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston. It's not going to be any type of walkover, but they have just been so good in that spot with Peyton. You'd like to think they get the job done, but I'm just not in that. Like, it's so interesting.
I'm not in love with them, Kev.
Think about it, Joe, too.
Wow, like they're getting. I buy into them a little bit more, but I'm not overly.
But you know what's
in love
interesting?
with them.
You look at all the best teams They all seemingly have either an award candidate somewhere, Coach of the Year, MVP, Offensive Player of the Year. They have nothing in Denver. Bo Nix isn't in the MVP race and shouldn't be. Sean Payton, I thought, could crash into the Coach of the Year race for grabbing the 1 seed. He's not. He's not at all. Liam Cohen, Mike Vrabel, all these guys that are trying to chase him, no chance. Mike McDonald, Kyle Shanahan, they're all just looking up with no real chance to catch him. I think it's an interesting setup for New England. Now, let me ask you about this in the NFC. The 2 or the 3, right? The way that all sets up. It's either going to be the Bears-Eagles or the Eagles-Bears. Philly is not going to play starters against Washington. They're still booked as 4.5-point favorites. Tanner McKee is going to get the start. The Bears are playing starters against an eliminated Detroit team and are only 3-point favorites. It speaks volumes to the books, I think, still belief in Detroit, despite the fact that they're eliminated. That is, Joe, in terms of teams that are looking for wins, and versus a team who's not, that's as short a line as you'll ever see.
Yeah, and Dan Campbell came out and said he's going to evaluate what transpires and evaluate players in this game. Talent-wise, you would say that Detroit offensively, right, should be able to take care of business against the Bears.
Yeah.
But we've seen the Bears now form an identity, and I told you I was more impressed with the Bears in the loss to San Francisco than San Francisco's win, and I still buy into that. The poise of Caleb Williams, the ability to recognize coverage, the ability to extend and throw deep passes and complete them with touch is why you took him number 1 overall. And I think the assessment is, or at least for me, is they're similar to where Washington was last year with Jaden Daniels in the first year with Ben Johnson. And it's cold. It's in Soldier Field. And I know last year they put up, that was the game where Ben Johnson did all the trick plays, right? Remember?
Mm-hmm.
That was the one. Now he's on the other side of the field.
Yeah.
And they're struggling right now. Detroit has in back-to-back games, and they're in a cold weather environment. And whether the starters play or not, outside of Jahmyr Gibbs, who do you have confidence in? You have confidence in Goff in this cold weather environment with a meaningless football game for them?
I think it's remarkable, but it's the fact that we know what that usually looks like, and the number is what it is. I think people.
Do you feel confident that Detroit could go into Soldier Field and come out with a W?
What I feel confident is that Detroit wants this game as bad as Chicago.
Yeah,
does.
they would like to stick the nail in the coffin to Chicago, right?
Which is just listen. I think
and they completely abused them in the dome.
I think that's really dangerous when a team is this up to play spoiler. I think it's dangerous. What I think's interesting though, Joe.
Are we sure about that though?
What?
Up to play spoiler. Dan Campbell's up. Dan Campbell's
not the coach that everyone thinks he is. Because he's up. If they're not up with him, he's not the coach we all think he is.
Well, there you go.
But I think these are the things. Can I just ask you this quickly, and we'll have to dive more into this, tomorrow throughout the postseason. But the 2 seed plays Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a rollover? Because the more we think about it, I don't.
I mean,
Green Bay's is basically been sitting on ice now for 3 weeks.
I know LaFleur in a playoff environment.
I don't love it either, but they're just.
No, I know. I know, but again,
sitting back.
Yeah, I know.
Kicking their feet up.
So, but here's the thing: playoff games.
Yeah.
LaFleur loves to run the football.
Sure does.
Is Josh Jacobs 45 touches? They haven't utilized them down the stretch.
Right.
Are they saving them? And do all of a sudden they become one-dimensional? They're facing a deficit and they can't get out. That is the concern with Green Bay going up against anybody.
We are going to take a look at Sunday Night Football. Early thoughts, Ravens, Steelers, Rodgers, Lamar, right here on SportsGrid. It's Pro Football Today.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Like Alabama, right? Is there a team that scores more than Alabama? No, right? But they're actually an under team over the last couple of years because their numbers are so high. You get these Americans in Queens College or Denver. Who the hell's betting on them, right? No, but so the lines stay low. They're just like, no one's hopping all over them. But every time you see an Alabama game, you're betting over, but you're losing money because the numbers are so big.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Sometimes those coaches do get the axe regardless of what the owner said just a few short weeks ago. But sometimes, Joe, you can't have it both ways. Like a Jets fan, you probably want them to tank. They're doing a really good job of that by not even being competitive at this point. But at the same time, you sort of want it to be, yeah, we're not competitive winning games, but it looks like we have a future. We might have found our quarterback. We got a good foundation. Nothing is going right.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Sunday Night Football, one of the biggest games, you could argue, in regular season games in recent NFL history. What's on the line? Well, for the Baltimore Ravens, the preseason Super Bowl favorites have had a nightmare of a season. They opened the year blowing a huge double-digit lead in Buffalo, where it looked like they were going to make a statement that they were definitively the team to beat in this league. That's what looked like was there for Baltimore. That loss was then soon followed by 4 more in their next 5 games. They were a 1-5 football team, entering into a bye week with an injured Lamar Jackson. Tyler Huntley saves the day. They beat the Bears. Lamar comes back. Steelers are the Steelers. Bengals are the Bengals. They should be all good. And then they lose on Thanksgiving. And then they lose to Pittsburgh. And the next thing you know, Lamar's injured again. So Tyler Huntley saves the day. Again. Yeah, it was really Derrick Henry who saved the day. But it's just remarkable that the 2 biggest wins this season, by far, have been with Tyler Huntley in at quarterback. But a win for the Ravens means your preseason Super Bowl favorites are in the dance. It means Lamar Jackson, the multiple-time MVP, gets a home playoff game, which very likely is not going to be against Josh Allen in round number 1 or round 2. And Mahomes is out of the playoffs. So is Burrow. So Lamar is set up here for a run, a legitimate run, the run that a lot of people thought he was going to go on entering into this season. On the other side of the field, oh my, a Pittsburgh Steelers team that, well, they do what they always do. Over 500. But it actually multiple times looked like they were going to be able to slam the door on this division. A 4-1 start. All they needed with the way things were in Baltimore. And then they lost to Cincinnati. Because they always lose a game they never should on the road in division. But it was all good. That win at Baltimore, a classic Tomlin spot comes through. And then it was followed by beating Miami, where people thought the shoe would drop. And then it was followed by stunning Detroit in Detroit, who desperately needed the game. Desperately. And, well, here we are, a 9-6 Steelers team going to the playoffs, making some believe they might go on a run. And then they lost to Cleveland because every single year they can lose these road divisional games against terrible teams. And the Browns were a 3-win team. So now they're not just playing to win the division and a home playoff game and avoid this collapse. they might be playing to keep Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. There's been some rumors he's eyeing up other moves. Maybe goes to TV. Oh, yeah. And Aaron Rodgers, soon-to-be first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-time league MVP. This could be the last game of his NFL career. Kind of a big game here in Pittsburgh, Joe. The Ravens booked like they're back. But the thing is, I don't know if I believe that price is because the books think they're back and they actually just think Pittsburgh is a wasteland due to scoring 6 points in Cleveland. This game is always close. Lamar's always struggled in Pittsburgh. What are your early thoughts?
Yeah, I can't buy into Lamar just because he's coming back. I would much rather buy into him potentially in a playoff spot than this game right here, right now. Mm-hmm. And again, I watched him on the primetime Sunday night game against New England, tweaked his back, and there's no guarantee he's even going to make it through this game. He's been battling maybe injuries all season long. Call it for what it is, but if he's not going to be 100% and he's not going to run in this ball game, I don't think they have a shot. Again, I think Pittsburgh will look to take away Derrick Henry in a rivalry game like this. I think they could contain him enough where he doesn't run for 150 and multiple touchdowns the way he did against Green Bay. And it wouldn't obviously wouldn't shock me if Baltimore won. But with the home field, with a playoff game on the line, division on the line, I have to take Aaron Rodgers, and I can't believe I'm saying it, and Mike Tomlin in the spot. And I know no DK Metcalf, and he put them in a significant disadvantage with his antics on the sidelines. But put it this way. The Ravens don't have a defense like Cleveland. I'm sorry. They just don't. And they could be exposed. And if all things are equal, offense to offense, and again, we're praising Derrick Henry, right? And we're praising Baltimore. But the consistency hasn't been there week to week with John Harbaugh or not, right? We've seen John Harbaugh in multiple games. Should run the football, they're throwing it, right? Just rely on the rushing attack. We got Kansas City on the ropes, number 1 seed.
Yeah.
There any guarantee that John Harbaugh can't screw this up? I'm just saying, like, we're praising him. The guy's maybe lost his fastball a little bit. I'm just saying, you have a quarterback that hasn't played in 2 weeks.
Yep.
No doubt when he's healthy, I've loved Lamar. I'm the guy that picked him coming out of college. But I don't have confidence in them. And I know it's Pittsburgh, and I know they're ugly, but I would much rather take the home team than just assume that Baltimore is going to bounce back into form. You want to take Henry rushing yards? You want to take Henry anytime touchdown? No problem. You want to take Baltimore in this spot in Pittsburgh? I can't do it in a divisional game. I just can't.
But I think, Joe, you hit on a lot of key points in that the Ravens they have this pedigree of being dominant, but it's all tied to the regular season last recent years. But they are not trustworthy in the biggest spots.
They're not. And Harbaugh, as good of a coach as he is, he has that dumb look on his face half the time.
I know
he
you
looks
hate
like
that
that look is ridiculous.
But also,
I mean, really, he's like dumbfounded. He's a Hall of Fame potential coach, and he looks dumbfounded.
Right.
Like he doesn't know. He's clueless.
The thing here's one of the interesting elements about betting on this game. Derrick Henry's rushing yards prop is 88.5. I don't know if there will be a more bet player prop all season than that number to the over. Every person, I'm not saying they're wrong to think this, believes that what the Ravens did last week is exactly what they're going to do again, and just give the ball to Derrick Henry 25 to 30 times.
Right. And they're going to walk away with
It's going to be fascinating. We're going to be right back here on SportsGrid.
LeBron James gets that news today What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Like Alabama, right? Is there a team that scores more than Alabama? No, right? But they're actually an under team over the last couple of years because their numbers are so high. You get these Americans in Queens College or Denver. Who the hell's betting on them, right? No, but so the lines stay low. They're just like, no one's hopping all over them. But every time you see an Alabama game, you're betting over, but you're losing money because the numbers are so big.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Sometimes those coaches do get the axe regardless of what the owner said just a few short weeks ago. And sometimes, Joe, you can't have it both ways. Like a Jets fan, you probably want them to tank. They're doing a really good job of that by not even being competitive at this point. But at the same time, you sort of want it to be, yeah, we're not competitive winning games, but it looks like we have a future. We might have found our quarterback. We got a good foundation. Nothing is going right.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Back to the right here on SportsGrid. We were just talking a little Ravens Steelers here. We're, of course, going to get into this game a ton tomorrow. It's the biggest game on the slate by far. What you are going to see from Ravens Steelers, maybe today's game's a little bit, the first game more so, Joe, are questions around coaches and their job security. And let me start with this, and then we'll kind of get to what some of the markets are telling us. Do you think Todd Bowles can save his job this season?
Yes.
How?
They have to win the South.
Okay.
Win a playoff game.
Okay.
And again, I would think that would save his job. I mean, four straight divisions, right?
Yep.
Depending upon who they beat in a playoff matchup. Depending upon how they look, I think he would get the benefit of the doubt to potentially be on the sidelines in 26. Do I think he's an elite head coach? No. But I did like him up until this year to potentially just manage, not get heavily involved with the offense, allowing the coordinators to potentially do their thing. Canales in recent years, and then obviously Liam Cohen. This year, it hasn't panned out. Does he get the benefit? Maybe it wasn't the right coordinator, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
here's the thing. But hear me out.
Yeah.
Just hear me out. They win today. They sneak into the playoffs. Let's say the Saints win. They knock off a team in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
That, to your point, they're going to be significant underdogs too. Let's just say.
Yep.
You're in round 2 of the playoffs with this team again.
So
I'm just saying.
Here's my issue, and you just hit it on it. Is especially if they lose the game, the coordinator stuff is real, right? The problem is when you have a defensive head coach, you end up with Dave Canales on the Carolina Panthers and Liam Cohen with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and not in your building anymore. Because these guys, I mean,
outshine the defense
by a lot, especially because the expectations were what they were. So I think Bowles could be one of the names that we see.
But then who are you getting is the question.
So I think what the problem is right now, from what I can tell, is it's a bad year to fire a head coach. Matt Nagy looks like he's going to walk into this Tennessee job. That's some of the conversations out there. Arthur Smith's name is being kicked around. I know. I agree, couldn't agree more.
Can we stop with this guy? Seriously, I'm
agree more.
sick of the retreads. What is up with the NFL? Garbage head coaches, Raheem Morris, and all these guys that we just regurgitate into organizations hoping that they found the Holy Grail and that they're going to get it right on the second and third go-around. Mike McCarthy's another one. The guy hasn't done anything since he's only regressed year to year, but he's going to be up for a head coaching job. What are we doing? It's owners that are just comfortable because they're football guys. I'm sick of it.
So right now, when we look at the markets for the first coach to be let go, they have Pete Carroll trending as the favorite. Now, I think this is, by the way, a little tricky because multiple teams will likely fire coaches, Joe, on Monday. So it's like, who's going to be first to market with their firing is an interesting one. I'm not enamored, really, with any of the prices, as much as I'm just fascinated to see who they believe is on the cut line. What I'm interested in is Pete Carroll's job safer with a win or a loss?
Come on.
I'm just saying.
Look.
If he wins that football game and costs them the first pick, he will be the first coach fired.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be a Lovie Smith situation, which happened in Houston. It was Cully. Was it Cully and then Smith, or Smith and then Cully? I don't remember.
I think Smith and Cully.
Smith and then Cully. Cully didn't deserve to be fired. I mean, they were at least competitive.
Well,
yeah, I mean, and one and done. I mean, they got D'Amico Rice. Yeah. Look, I think Pete Carroll in his heyday, and even after Russell Wilson left, I told you, I thought he was deserving over Brian Daboll, Coach of the Year. Had a lower win total, over-exceeded expectations with Geno Smith. It's clear he's lost his fastball. He's a rah-rah guy, but can't get the most out of the team now. Now the team doesn't have any identity to what his Seattle teams have. I would say he's still the first coach fired. Mm-hmm. I still think there's a world where Raheem Morris is fired. And I know they're playing well right now, but if you're going to carry that into the offseason, good luck when there's a lot of young head coaches that can maybe turn around that team.
Well, we're going to talk more about this with NFL insider Adam Kaplan. After the break, we're with you right here on Pro Football Today.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Like Alabama, right? Is there a team that scores more than Alabama? No, right? But they're actually an under team over the last couple of years because their numbers are so high. You get these Americans in Queens College or Denver. Who the hell's betting on them, right? Nobody. So the lines stay low. They're just like, no one's hopping all over them. But every time you see an Alabama game, you're betting over, but you're losing money because the numbers are so big.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Sometimes those coaches do get the axe regardless of what the owner said just a few short weeks ago. And sometimes, Joe, you can't have it both ways. Like a Jets fan, you probably want them to tank. They're doing a really good job of that by not even being competitive at this point. But at the same time, you sort of want it to be, we're not competitive winning games, but it looks like we have a future. We might have found our quarterback. We got a good foundation. Nothing is going right.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Okay, guys, live with you right here on SportsGrid. We're now joined by NFL insider Adam Kaplan. Cap, it's always great to talk to you here before these slates. Joe and I were just kicking around some of the conversations around these coaches and what to kind of expect. I think maybe it would be good to, because I know we can get into the specifics, but can you give people a little bit of insight into the timeline, order of operations, how these next 48 or so hours will be playing out?
Yeah, all right. So, with rare exception, most of the firings will come by noon Eastern on Monday. Now, some will come Sunday night when the club already knew that they were going to do this. Like when Andy Reid was let go, it happened Sunday night back in 2012 before we went to the Chiefs. I remember, this is incredible, Mike Tice was actually fired around the locker room back with the Vikings a couple decades ago. But those things really happen. They usually wait till the next morning. What they want to do is they want to have the talk with the general manager, firm things up. It's already been on their mind. They're going to do this. So, Kevin, by the way, it doesn't happen like they just decided the last 2 weeks they're going to fire a coach. It doesn't happen like that. Now, there are surprises where, I mean, you could talk to a club, a general manager wants to keep the head coach, and ownership doesn't like the head coach for some reason, and he tells them the week leading up, hey, you know what, I've changed my mind. I just can't. I don't want us to work with this guy anymore. That does happen. Sometimes. So I just want to get, I want to give people percentages here. Most of them, almost 90% of them are firings. There are resignations, which are rare. Mike Mularkey did many years ago. There are retirements. And then there are the Steelers who don't fire any head coaches, which is obviously unheard of. But Kevin, to answer your question so we can move forward here, most of them will come Monday. Very few go to Tuesday and Wednesday. The late Al Davis sometimes would wait 5 to 7 days to tell the head coach his fate.
Cap, New York Giants, they fired Brian Dable a long time ago, and the rumor was potentially Marcus Freeman. Freeman's going back to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Are the Giants going to get a recognizable big-time head coach for the team next year?
Yeah, and I wouldn't rule out someone from the defensive side of the football. I know everybody is kind of focusing on offensive candidates. I get that. But, guys, I could tell you, if I'm talking to clubs, it's not a great list. Majority of the names, and this rarely happens, guys, and we'll talk more about this on Sunday's PFT and then going forward. But a majority of them this year, the best head coaching candidates are from the defensive side of football. That simply rarely happens. You mentioned Marcus Freeman. Multiple teams I know for a fact were interested in talking to him. A very impressive guy. Maybe he becomes a head coach someday. Maybe he decides to leave. But the bottom line is, guys, it's when it comes to the Giants, yes, they want a quarterback developer. But one thing I do want to add, if you're a defensive guy, you better have a good quarterback developer. Someone who's developed quarterbacks before, you probably won't get a job where there's a young quarterback that needs to be developed.
So, Cap, to your point about defensive guys, is then Salah then another name based off of him and the performance he's done with a patchwork defensive unit in San Francisco and what he did with the New York Jets? Is he being mentioned in some of these circles?
Yes, Robert Saleh, the former Jets head coach. Yeah, here's what happened. And I want to explain kind of, guys, when you evaluate, this is the way ownership and general managers evaluate. If we didn't have a quarterback, how in the world are we going to fire the head coach? Like, I know Jonathan Gannon, his overall record is terrible as a Cardinals head coach, but Kyler Murray, obviously he's out. He had the midfoot sprain. Kyler Murray has just been on a downward trend. Well, I don't know Jonathan Gannon personally, but how in the world could you how could you think like he should be fired? Now, I know some people would say, where's the improvement? I get that. It's a fair criticism. But you got to have a quarterback to have a chance. Jacoby Brissett, guys, is a terrific backup. But, yeah, I would say that Robert Saleh, Joe, to answer your question, is certainly, I'm told, on the radar of some clubs. And Matt Nagy is a guy that I've talked about offensively, who's a guy that multiple teams will probably look at, including Tennessee. I told you guys back that here in October. He's on Tennessee's list. But it's really defense. But the offensive guys like Clint Kubiak, I'm told, he will be on lists, but he's got to interview well. He's sort of a soft-spoken guy, and you got to see how it comes. This is why these in-person interviews are very, very important.
One interesting thing to stay in the coach's realm for a second, Cap, is you and I on Game Time Decisions were able to talk about how these odds shift and, voters they don't get swayed by it, but, it's just kind of more the markets. The Coach of the Year stuff's been moving around quite a lot. And Kyle Shanahan now has actually found himself atop. I will say this is a great race. Like, I actually think you have a lot of really quality names here and cases to be made. I think Ben Johnson dropped way too far just because they lost, giving up 42 to San Francisco. Do you have any, where are you at right now as it pertains to Coach of the Year?
All right, so Pro Football Writers Association, we have the deepest list. AP is the one that's actually recognized more than PFWA, but PFWA, all the clubs recognize it. You'll see it. They put it up on their social media when we turn our votes in. I got a tough time doing it. I mean, Mike McDonald, here are my choices. Then I have to make a decision. Liam Cohen, I'm stunned by this, and we'll see what obviously happens this weekend. Liam Cohen, Mike Vrabel, you have to. Sean Payton, what could you say? Done a great job. Mike McDonald, Ben Johnson. Honestly, I don't know what I have to really look at, and not only do I have to look at it, I got to ask clubs that have gone against these coaches what they think. But Seattle's kind of my breakout team, so that's not a surprise. Guys, usually the way I look at it is when it's totally unexpected. Well, did anyone think Jacksonville would be this good? Come on, really? No.
Yeah.
I mean, or Vrabel, guys. To me, it's probably going to be Vrabel or Liam Cohen. I mean,
One of the interesting, Cap, do you guys vote on Assistant Coach of the Year with the PFW?
That's a great question. Ours is so deep, and we have to do special teams.
Oh, wow.
Vic Fangio, you just mentioned it. I wasn't even thinking of the subject, but it's a great question, Kevin.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio, the defense coordinator for the Eagles, is elite.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be up there. Who were you thinking? Anyone you were thinking?
Well, you imagine Vance Joseph in Denver will get a lot of love.
Done a great job.
Robert Saleh, It's interesting. He had a lot of good buzz. I don't know if they'll hold the recent performance against Chicago against him. I have found Josh McDaniels, Cap, to be one of the more under-discussed elements of the entire NFL season. Like, I don't mean to begrudge Mike Vrabel, but it's why I don't understand how Mike Vrabel, a defensive guy, has potentially the league MVP, an offensive-minded OC, and is going to win Coach of the Year. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't do anything, but I just feel like, when we kind of divide that credit up, it doesn't connect for me as well. Fangio's a really interesting, candidate. Oh,
so great. And Vic Fangio, they didn't blitz in the Super Bowl, and that was their plan coming into the game. They wouldn't do it. Yeah, Josh, talking to the Patriots, Josh McDaniels, here's what I love. He challenges his quarterbacks to buy in. I've talked to Brian Hoyer about this before. He doesn't run an easy scheme to learn. And Drake May had to learn it. And Drake May was willing to do everything that was asked of him. You're right. Josh McDaniels has got to be right up there. It's tough, man. As we go through this, because you're making me think about this. I have to turn in about 10 days. And by the way, it's only a regular season award, just to make clear. AP and R's, PFWA are just regular season awards, but it's so deep. And by the way, what we'll do is once I've sent it in, when I do come on PFT or whatever show, Game Time Decisions, do 2 segments. I'll send you my list and we'll go over it for sure.
Cap, I just want to bring up Kingsbury. Obviously, with the injury to Jaden Daniels, is he on any short list? Depending,
He is. He's not. He didn't do a great job as head coach of the Cardinals, but he is so good with quarterbacks. The only way you get him is you have to offer him a head coaching job. He can't leave, otherwise they'd block him. He's on list. Again, it's not a good. Clint Kubiak, as I mentioned, we'll have more names for you guys tomorrow. Mm-hmm. There are about 4 or 5 other offensive teams, but again, it's not a great list. And Kingsbury absolutely will be on some.
All right, awesome as always, NFL insider Adam Kaplan. We get back to breaking down Panthers, Bucks, and Seahawks, 49ers, all the action that we are lining up for here, and any late in line movement that we are tracking as well for the 2 big Saturday games. After the break, we're live with you right here. It's Pro Football Today. Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi live on SportsGrid.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Like Alabama, right? Is there a team that scores more than Alabama? No, right? But they're actually an under team over the last couple of years because their numbers are so high. You get these Americans in Queens College or Denver. Who the hell's betting on them, right? No, but so the lines stay low. They're just like, no one's hopping all over them. But every time you see an Alabama game, you're betting over, but you're losing money because the numbers are so big.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Sometimes those coaches do get the axe regardless of what the owner said just a few short weeks ago. And sometimes, Joe, you can't have it both ways. Like a Jets fan, you probably want them to tank. They're doing a really good job of that by not even being competitive at this point. But at the same time, you sort of want it to be, yeah, we're not competitive winning games, but it looks like we have a future. We might have found our quarterback. We got a good foundation. Nothing is going right.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today right here on SportsGrid, taking a look at all the action on this NFL Saturday. Excited tomorrow. Joe and I will be here, of course, to break down Sunday and figure out what in the world goes on today because it just feels like we're going to get some fun results here, Joe, on this Saturday. Let's start in Tampa Bay. At most recent look, this is a field goal number everywhere, so it's not under the 3 at any of these spots, and the total checks in right now, 43.5 with, I think, one loose flat 43 available in the market here.
Yeah.
Side or total really catching your attention?
Yeah, I mean, the total for me, I know it's right on the last game they played, 23-20. You're seeing multiple outlets right in the same number, 43.5 across the board. Again, I lean to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't love the side all that much because it wouldn't shock me if Carolina pulls off the upset. What I do believe in is that I do feel that Tampa has to dictate the tempo. They have to be more aggressive in the passing attack. And I know Baker threw it 44 times last week. They trailed in that game to a gutless Miami team. That cannot happen at home with your backs against the wall and the playoff hopes in the balance. Can't. I'm going down with my gunslinger. That's Baker Mayfield. Ibuka, again, I don't know if he did something wrong to Baker in the locker room, but all of a sudden, Baker doesn't have a neck brace. He's got a neck brace on. Doesn't look to his way in any capacity. Last time they played, he did have one reception for a big play, 40 yards. What are you laughing about?
I wasn't supposed to laugh at the neck brace comment?
Well, I mean, Baker only looks to the right side of the field. Oh, Evans and Godwin are back. Got to feed my guys. Guess what, Baker? Evans not getting 1,000 yards, all right? So, we could just do away with that. There's no way to force feed Mike Evans all the time. Ibuka should have mismatch problems on that secondary. If you're talking about Horn and who they're going to take away, it should be Evans. It should be maybe McMillan that stepped up last week. That should be underneath routes to Godwin and Ibuka. And again, I like him to score an anytime touchdown. You're talking about a guy that you have 60-plus yards at plus 430 on Emeka Ibuka today. 70, you're going to get 6-1. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous for a potential. If he was on any other team, he'd be a pure number one. I mean, it's just ridiculous. He's plus 310 to score a touchdown today. I like him. I like Cade Otton underneath routes. Again, when Baker's successful, he's distributing the football to multiple players. Otton has to get involved in the offense underneath. That'll open up everything down the field. On the flip side, I do feel, I know you like McMillan. It's a good look. Again, when he's cooking, that offense is in rhythm. I just think, again, on the road, I'm a little concerned. I do like the underneath routes. Mitchell Evans has better numbers than Tommy Tremble. But again, in games that Bryce Young has broken out, Tremble's been a security blanket with explosive plays. Give me Tremble anytime and Tremble over his number.
So in this game, I lean towards Tampa Bay.
You don't love it, though, like me.
I don't.
No.
I don't. The reason I like Tampa Bay is not that I think they are, they're good or, they're better than the record. I think even bad teams can wake up and win a game, right? There's no winless teams in the National Football League. Everyone has multiple wins, in fact. So I think Tampa Bay, despite being in this monstrous rut, is capable of putting it together for a game. They've also lost very close football games, right? By 4, by 1, by 3, by 3. They've been blown out when they play the Rams, the Bills, the Patriots. Those games are not as competitive. I know some of the final scores looked a little bit tighter, but I think we see the Bucs win this game. But all of that, the potential trailing scenario just sets up for me to bet Carolina Panthers passing props. I like Bryce Young's longest pass over 31.5 yards. That was at minus 120. You play 32.5 if you're getting better juice. The gap was minimal there. And I played Ted McMillan over 58.5 receiving yards. Again, 60.5, 61.5. I think McMillan is in line to have a big day. I think that right now, he's the best offensive player in this game. Right now, I think that's what Ted McMillan is. I know you're going to say, whoa, he only had 5 yards against Seattle. He was added to the injury report an hour and a half before kick because of an illness, and his starting quarterback threw for 54 yards. He still was targeted 4 times, and the week before against Tampa, targeted 10, led to 73 yards and a touchdown. I think we see McMillan step up here in a big way. Now, Seahawks-Niners. Talking side, Joe. 2.5-point number. Maybe patience will pay. I don't know. This could pop 3. What do you think about the side, Niners-Seahawks?
I like San Fran. I'm going to take the home dog. I'm not buying into Seattle, even though they're 7-1 on the road or on a neutral field this year. Again, I know it's Sam Darnold. I know they have the better defense. But I'm buying into the more consistent offense, and for me, that's Brock Purdy, and that's San Francisco. The way they took care of business against Chicago was impressive. The fact that they're at home, I think, matters. And again, it just comes down to I can't buy into Sam Darnold in a big matchup. I know it's his former team. I know he's got the better, maybe, running backs, 1-2 punch.
Yep.
You can make, nobody's better than McCaffrey. But again, they're a little more consistent in the rushing attack. The offensive line, I think, has been a little bit better than San Fran this year running the football. But I can't do it. I can't do it in this spot. Again, I lean to the over. I think both games are overs. I just think that San Francisco hit stride, and it wouldn't shock me if we're talking which quarterback has a better day. It's going to be Purdy, in my opinion, than Darnold.
So for me, I bet the San Francisco 49ers before the year to win the NFC. They were my pick to win that conference. And the thought was, due to an easier schedule, they could get themselves up to the 1 seed. Now they stumbled out of the gate and found themselves with injuries upon injuries upon injuries. But all of a sudden, you saw the light. They needed to handle business against bad teams and get a little bit of help, which was just the Seahawks beating the Rams, and they got that. And it is now all set up here for San Francisco. I don't love their defense. I think Brock Purdy's capable of turnovers. I think the same, though, is true of Sam Darnold. I lean towards the Niners in this football game. It's not my favorite spot of the year, though, for San Francisco. And I think that is a bit of an indictment on that team. Listen, I have the ticket. We'll root the ticket in. But I won't be thrilled about it if they lose this football game. And I think that it is an incredibly important result that San Francisco needs to get here against the Seahawks to finish this thing out, to get themselves not just home field, but the bye, the rest, to get Trent Williams healthy, to get George Kittle healthy, to give Christian McCaffrey, my goodness, don't let him near the building. Get this guy a week off. He's going to have 50 carries in this football game, it'll feel like, here against the Seahawks. And maybe so. Maybe that'll inform some of the rest of the action that we like in this game. We'll get you our final props for Niners Seahawks. We will get you our best bets for these 2 football games. And, of course, as always, our Sell Me Something to send you on your way right here on SportsGrid.
LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Like Alabama, right? Is there a team that scores more than Alabama? No, right? But they're actually an under team over the last couple of years because their numbers are so high. You get these Americans in Queens College or Denver. Who the hell's betting on them, right? No, but so the lines stay low. They're just like, no one's hopping all over them. But every time you see an Alabama game, you're betting over, but you're losing money because the numbers are so big.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Sometimes those coaches do get the axe regardless of what the owner said just a few short weeks ago. And sometimes, Joe, you can't have it both ways. Like a Jets fan, you probably want them to tank. They're doing a really good job of that by not even being competitive at this point. But at the same time, you sort of want it to be, yeah, we're not competitive winning games, but it looks like we have a future. We might have found our quarterback. We got a good foundation. Nothing is going right.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, what do you say? Little pro football today, button it up here. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. Joe, it has been a treat. Appreciate you and the guys in the back wishing me a happy birthday. That was very kind of you guys. We had a little bit of fun. We were doing that during our Saturday morning crunch. Just remind people here, props-wise, Joe, before we get over to the best bets.
Yeah,
Seahawks, Niners.
See, I'm on Shaheed.
Yes, sir.
Over receiving yards and an anytime touchdown.
Right.
And I believe Jawan Jennings has a huge part in that offense today.
Okay.
So I'm on his receiving total, anytime touchdown.
Yep.
Again, I think, it sounds crazy going up against that defense, but I think he can get to potentially 100 today. He's got the frame, he's got the size, and again, I think the defense looks to take away Kittle. Kittle and McCaffrey coming out of the backfield because they've been so dependent upon both of those guys. Yeah. That obviously I think Shannon and think about the one crossing route. They went to him in a go-to situation. Mm-hmm. Purdy likes Jennings. It's just the game plan last week or over the past couple of weeks was not Jennings dependent. I think in this game it is.
Yeah, I will say, Joe, I don't mind any looks at Jawan Jennings. I have not attacked, if you will, the Niners receiving game a ton. And it's all kind of informed into the best bet. The prop that I played will somewhat feature into the sell me something, so I'll hold off on that.
Okay.
Let's put best bets on the board here. You always bat lead off. We're both betting totals here on this slate for a best bet. Give them what you got.
Yeah, a little limited, right? 2 games. So I'm going over in the Tampa Bay game, and I know Tampa Bay has not hit stride. I was on the over last week. But again, in this matchup, I think they can move the football. If they hit early, I think this can open up a huge game. It wouldn't shock me if this game gets into the 50s, especially if Baker is sharp. Took the over 43.5. We'll see how it plays out. But again, it has to be Tampa Bay dictating the tempo in this matchup. It can't be Carolina because if Carolina has their way, I think they want to run the football with Hubbard and Dowdle on the road.
So I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. But I'm playing the night total. And I'm going to play the under 47.5. I believe that you have a true playoff atmosphere, tight to the vest, field goals inside the 25, and running. I think you take a look at both quarterbacks, not just Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold, but both quarterbacks. The danger to losing this game, and I think the danger to losing my total, are costly turnovers. And I believe these coaching staffs will play a conservative game with their quarterbacks. I do. They were playing very conservative with Seattle when they played the Rams. You knew they were worried about Darnold doing what, by the way, Darnold ended up doing in throwing that game away. Rashid Shaheed all of a sudden flips things around, and it's a new football game, right? I think Brock Purdy threw a pick six to open the gate up against the San Francisco or against the Chicago Bears. Will not be given that same exact gravity because it's not the same opponent, right? Them lighting up the Colts and the Titans and the Chicago Bears. It's not the Seattle Seahawks. I like under 47.5 Niners Seahawks.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good look. I mean, I will say
know you like the total. It's fine.
The one prop on Seattle's side I do like. I like Charbonnet over Walker. I think he's more physical. Again, he's the goal line back. But again, if they're going to run the football on the road, I do believe it's got to be Charbonnet over Walker today, yardage-wise. I'm not saying touches. I just think he has a little bit more productivity on the road in this matchup.
I think that is fair enough, Joe. Why don't you want me to go or you want you to go?
You tell. I'll go.
You go. You're always
look. First game. We know about tight ends, right? And Baker hasn't gone to Otten, but both Tremble and Cade Otten 50 plus, 87-1. I mean, not even touchdowns, Kevin.
Yeah.
I mean, it, I don't know. Who lets me down? I mean, it's 87. I'm just saying. I mean, how does it not get there? Who do I sound like? How does it not? I'm just going to give one of those. I mean, really, come on. Because I'm just saying, like, how does it not get there?
No, listen, I'll say this. I don't mind getting involved with the tight end room a little bit. I think Tremble's interesting. I told you I like rushing as it pertains to the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. I played CMC for 5.25 plus 105. I played CMC and Ken Walker each for 5.25. That's plus 650. And then I figured we'd take one from the heels.
Right.
45-1. Each running back, McCaffrey and Walker, for 10 rushing yards a quarter.
I like it.
Now go ahead and tell me you like Charbonnet in this game, because that's what you do.
No, I'll root it in for you.
No, you won't.
I'll root it.
No,
you know what I just thought?
Yeah,
What, Sammy, pump this up quick. Every quarterback to score a touchdown. Mayfield,
hold on,
Young,
let me see. Go ahead.
Young, Purdy,
I don't even know if I can do this
Darnold.
quick enough. What an under-the-gun task you've given me here now. Where are they hiding these touchdown scores? Of course this is what you want to do. Hold on a second. Bryce, 550. Baker, 7. Whoa, buddy. Whoa.
6, 7.
Where the hell? Sam Darnold, 950. What's Purdy? Even money to score? It's a gazillion to
1. LeBron James gets that news today. What is today?
Today's his birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry? The greatest birthday gift that LeBron James has ever gotten is the reality, the smack in the face that he's no longer an all-star.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Like Alabama, right? Is there a team that scores more than Alabama? No, right? But they're actually an under team over the last couple of years because their numbers are so high. You get these Americans in Queens College or Denver. Who the hell's betting on them, right? No, but so the lines stay low. They're just like, no one's hopping all over them. But every time you see an Alabama game, you're betting over, but you're losing money because the numbers are so big.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Sometimes those coaches do get the axe regardless of what the owner said just a few short weeks ago. And sometimes, Joe, you can't have it both ways. Like a Jets fan, you probably want them to tank. They're doing a really good job of that by not even being competitive at this point. But at the same time, you sort of want it to be, yeah, we're not competitive winning games, but it looks like we have a future. We might have found our quarterback. We got a good foundation. Nothing is going right.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's out again. Anthony Davis is injured once again and is going to miss time with the Dallas Mavericks for a minor groin strain. Likely will miss a few games. And I don't even know what a few games is to Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis seems to always be missing time.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.